Hello all and welcome to Crochet Designs. My name is Mary, coming to you with our Halloween series this year. Very exciting. Let's do the again. Calm down, Mary. It's very hard for me to be calm today. You guys know I love Halloween, and today is all about our very first project, which should have been the one and only project, but yours truly messed up, so now we're making two. Good on you, Mary. Now, what happens is, now if you're new to our channel, smash that subscribe button. Get on there, subscribe, guys, because there's so much happening between Halloween and future tutorials. But I'm not talking about anything else today. It's just Halloween. We'll talk about that next week. You guys know what I mean. Christmas. Shh, don't tell anyone. Christmas. Shh. But today we're talking about, don't you love it? Today we're talking about Halloween, and you guys know I have a lot of fun with Halloween. I do a funny video for you guys, just for you, I do. Now, this year there'll still be a funny video, but it's going to be very, very short because by popular demand, by yourselves, the subscriber, you chose me to do more work around the Christmas time and to do a funny video at Christmas rather than Halloween. But we're still doing one at Halloween, very short, very small, and we are going to talk about our very first Halloween project, colour combination chosen by the lovely Pamela, but she doesn't know what colour she's chosen. Okay, let me talk about this. For those of you who are not subscribed to the channel, subscribe, smash that button, smash it. Well, don't do it so hard. We don't want you to break in your laptop, phone, whatever it is you're using, iPad. Don't break anything. We do a thing called live antics on Saturday mornings. I wrap a few packs here, maybe 1, 2, 3 packs of yarn, and I get one lucky subscriber on the live. We pull their names out of a hat. There's the lucky hat. And they get to choose which pack they want for that project. I'm trying to think of what I did here. With this one, I said it's definitely for Halloween. But get this, the lady who chose this particular pack, which was Pamela, decided not to open the pack on the live. She said, I want to see you open it on the project. So guess what, Pamela? We're going to do that in just a moment, but not yet. Don't you love it? The suspense. We're going to talk quickly about what the project is for. And as you can see, I don't usually keep my little black dress here, and not for anything, but that's this little black dress. I think it shrunk. It must have shrunk because it fits this mannequin, and this mannequin's only a large, and I know someone's an extra large, maybe 2 extra large these days. But we won't talk about that. So this is shrunk. That's the excuse I'm using. And I want to make a lacy top that goes across this way, or down to there, or down to there. You've got 3 different sizes. How exciting is that? Yes, we are making a lacy top to go over your beautiful little black dress, and you can create it in any colour you like, but we're creating it in Pamela's colours, which I'll open in a moment. But today's video is all about introducing the project to you, showing part of the project, because I haven't finished it. I'm going to show you part of the project, and we are going to do a gauge swatch for this top as well. Guys, I can't stress gauge swatches enough. A gauge swatch, if you don't know what that is, it's a little swatch 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters of the pattern. The reason we do a gauge swatch is to introduce the hook size to you. And if you were to do your gauge swatch and your gauge swatch came out 2 sizes bigger than mine, then your outfit's going to come out 2 sizes bigger than the size that you need. If you did a gauge swatch and it's so short, so tight and small, it's like 6 centimeters by 4, just to give you an argument's sake, when you do your top, it's not going to fit you. It's going to be made short. So the reason we do the gauge swatch is so that you can change the hook size to suit your tension. Everyone has different tension in crochet. It's not like sewing where you've got your material, you sew straight down the line and everybody's happy. Yeah? Doesn't work that way. Knitting and crochet, achoo, there's that allergy again, the knitting allergy. I'm not allergic to knitting, guys. I love knitting, but I prefer crochet. So there you go. So we do a gauge swatch so that you guys can get your size right, so that you can head off on your own and create the size that I give you to do. Simple, simple, simple. And I'm going to put the measurement sizes in the description box or the more section down below throughout all my tutorials now. I have been doing that now for the past I don't know, 3 months. I keep forgetting. Sometimes I still say it throughout the tutorial. But most of the times you will now see the 9 sizes of measurements in the description box or the more section down below. Take your measurements and then check those measurements down below. Okay, when I say measurements, I don't have a measuring tape with me, but you are measuring the width of your bust. Your measurement goes right around there. You're doing the waist and then you're doing the hips. Some of us may not need the hips if you are making your top waist length, but I would say take all 3 measurements. It's not going to hurt to have, yeah? Having said that, if your hips are wider than your bust measurement, then your top up the top will be too loose for you, but that's okay. I've made this top really loose and flowy for you, not really loose, but loose and flowy for you to wear over your beautiful little black dress like I'm going to do. So we're going to talk about that in a minute, but first, because Pamela chose pack number 2, I don't know if it's the right way around, but it's pack number 2. Sometimes the camera works the other way, but it's pack number 2. And she chose to open this up when we start the tutorial. I'm going to put this down as being part 1 of our tutorial because in 5 minutes time we're heading over to the workstation and we're all making our gauge swatch so that you can get the right hook size for your yarn. And of course the right yarn once we open the pack. Now let's open the pack for Pamela. Oh, I hope it's not too loud. I might just bring the volume down for this. So let's open the pack. We're opening the pack. We're opening the pack. And we're opening the pack. And it's... ta-da! Oh, we're missing some yarn in there. Sorry about that. 1, 2, 3, 4. There should be 51, 52, 53, 50. There should be about 5 or 6. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She can't count 6. She failed maths. There should be between 5 and 6 skeins for the larger sizes. Okay, for anyone over 2XL, you should have, or maybe even XL, you should have between 5 and 6 skeins in here. Okay, skeins. This is 50-gram ball. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I do want to say thank you, Pamela, for your choice. Oh, look, there's a little bit of black in there. I wonder what that's going to be. Is it going to be for our top? Let me see. Firstly, let me show you the yarn. Now, what you need is cotton, but this one here, I believe, is 50% cotton and 50% acrylic. It's called 4 Seasons. I don't know if you can see that properly. 4 Seasons Brighton. I forgot the name of it. 4 Seasons Brighton Cotton. Now, this is 95 meters from memory. Yes, it is. It's 95 meters. Not sure what that is in yards. Actually, I'll put it here in yards because I love that nice and black area. We can put the white there. So we'll put the yards there. So you need, depending on your size, again, check the description box down below for your size, all right? But this calls for a 4mm hook. I'm using a 4.5 because I want it to be kind of lacy. And the reason I want it lacy, if you had watched my short yesterday, you would have seen the half treble stitch. That is the stitch we are using throughout this piece. It's 1 stitch, I'm lying, 2 stitches because you've got a chain in between, half treble and a chain, 2 stitches all the way across the row and all the rows all the way up. It is such a basic pattern. Anyone can make this. And again, I actually wanted it to cover my arms. Some of us like our arms covered. We won't go there. But I wanted it to cover my arms, and that's exactly what this pattern is going to do. In a moment, you're going to make the gauge swatch, and it's going to look something like that, right? This is the pattern. This is where I've got to so far. That's the base part of the front and the back because they're both the same. The only difference is when we get towards the top, the back will be one piece. The front will have a little bit of a lower edge because we want that to drop a little bit. So that's pretty much what we're going to do. However, if you want to make your 2 sides exactly the same, you can do that too. It just means that your size will look like that once it's on, yeah? But we want a normal top that goes like that and just a little bit open there because the second project, which naughty me accidentally left the second pack there. I put the 2 packs there so someone can choose 1 pack for our Halloween project. The week later, I went to do Live Antics and forgot to take that other pack out. So when someone did Live Antics, they chose the second pack for the Halloween project. So now we're doing 2. This will not take you long. I'm going to tell you how long this took me, this piece alone. Of course, I'm fast, yeah, but I had a lot of upside down. I had a lot of interruptions from the kitten. As you know, I've recently got a kitten. There she is she not divine? So don't you love it? And she's taken up a lot of my time, and I've actually crocheted this while she's been running around the house and jumping on me and trying to grab the skein of yarn and all sorts of things. So it took me probably, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 10 rows there. I counted it before. 10 by, yeah, that took me an hour and 15 minutes. I'm trying to work out the time. And that's with interruptions, okay? So I think it won't take you long to create the front and the back. And the top part is only going to be stitched together like this. And if you wanted to add a little bit of arm edge, we can talk about that at the end. But this, the way it works, the stitch that I'm using to keep this gorgeously straight, you won't need to add any arm length. This top comes out around there, okay? So you shouldn't need to add arm's length. Plus, I've made this top to be about 10 centimeters bigger than most sizes, and sometimes 15 centimeters bigger than some sizes as well, because you know the size amounts are different within the actual each size. And you can look at that in a description box down below and work that out, right? The highest size, let's say for argument's sake, your chest is 100 centimeters and one of the sizes is exactly 100 centimeters, that will be 10 centimeters more than yours and maybe 14 or 15 centimeters more than the smallest section of that size. So it might go from 80 to 100. I can't remember the sizes, to be fair. Just check that description box down below of the sizes, your size, once you've done your measurements around the bust, waist and hip. Do those measurements, really, really important. All you're doing is measuring around the fullest part of your whole body, around the waist, and then around the hips. That is all you need to do for today's tutorial to work. Now, what that will do, once you get those measurements and you look in the description box down below for your size, it will tell you how much yarn you need to purchase for your size. So if you wanted to purchase it, or if you wanted to go through your stash, like me, I've got thousands and thousands of skeins up there, or maybe not that much, but I have, not many I should say, but I have plenty of yarn that I can go through. For me, I have bags of this red, bags of it. Now, I have 350 grams for my size. I think I only need about 320 for my size, right? But I know I have 350 grams worth of yarn here. Not there. There's only 200 grams there. I don't know what happened to the rest of the red. It's around somewhere. But there should be, for my size, which is, well, let's say between extra large and 2 extra large. That's all I want to say about that. There should be between 320 and 350 grams worth of yarn. Just give or take a little bit, depending on your tension again, yeah? But I give you a lot of leeway with yarn, and so you end up with a little bit extra anyways, all right? So what we're going to do now, guys, is create the gauge swatch. We're going to head over to the workstation and create a small piece of 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. And at the end of that video, I explain what to do if your size doesn't work out the same as mine and you've used the same stitches and you've used the same hook, all right? But what you will need is a skein of your yarn, one skein. You won't use that much, just for the gauge swatch. And you will also need the hook size. This calls for a 4mm hook, but I'm using a 4.5 because I want it to be a little bit lacy, a little bit loose for me, all right? We are using a stitch called a half treble stitch and the chain stitch. That is it. So easy. The 2 stitches all the way across, turn, do it again and again and again until the end, except first row will be half trebles all the way across. Last row will be half trebles all the way across. That's the pattern. Simple, simple, simple. What's a half treble, I hear you ask? Well, I've left a link to our short that I created yesterday specifically for you to have a look at, so that when I introduce this video and this pattern today, you would have practiced that stitch. You won't even need to watch the video. You better watch the video though. You won't even need, don't you love it? Don't watch the video. You won't need to watch, she's so naughty. You won't need to watch the video, but really you need to do the gauge swatch, guys. I cannot stress the gauge swatch enough. I'm pedantic about gauge swatches, yeah? All right, so I'm not going to talk anymore. We're going to head over to the workstation. We're going to create the gauge swatch, and then we're going to come back here and talk about when our project is going to be created. Good luck all. Alright guys, the yarn we are using for the actual project will be a 4 Seasons Brighton cotton. It is a 50% cotton, 50% acrylic, and it's an 8-ply DK weight 3-weight cotton. So it doesn't matter what brand you use, so long as you're using the 8-ply DK weight or the 3-weight cotton. And it can be a mixture between cotton and acrylic or just plain cotton. If you wanted to use wool or just plain acrylic, you could. Make sure you complete this gauge if you want to do that. All right. Now this cotton, pretty basic cotton. I'm using the same dye lot all the way through, but if you don't have the dye lot that I have, it doesn't matter. So long as it's either your red or your black for Halloween. The reason I'm doing mine in red is so that I can use my top after Halloween for anything I want to use it for, so even better. All right, so that's that. It does actually call, I forgot to mention, where is it? Right here, we'll do a close-up. It calls for a 4mm hook, but for the purpose of our tutorial, to make it a little bit more loose and flowy, we're using a 4.5mm hook today for the gauge swatch. But just know that when you finish your gauge swatch, so when it looks like that, oh, hello, we're too close. When it looks like that and your measurements don't fit, you may need to drop your hook size or add your hook size up. Go up a hook size or go down a hook size, whatever that may be. And I'll talk about that at the end of this tutorial, all right? So without further ado, let's get started on creating our gorgeous little gauge swatch. Alrighty guys, so we're going to start by making a slip knot. Slip knot is grab the tail end of your yarn, wrap it around your finger once and twice, holding it there and holding it down there. Pass your back loop halfway over your finger, hold it there, pass the other loop all the way over, pop your hook in and give everything a tug. We are now going to chain the amount of chains we need for this gauge swatch, and that is 18. And a chain is yarn over your hook, pull a loop through once, right? And then yarn over 2, yarn over 3, 4, 5. All right, so chain all the way up to 18. I'll pop this on fast and off we go. 6, and 18. All right, so I forgot to mention not to do these chains too tight. I did leave a little disclaimer up the top there, but don't do the chains too tight, okay? So the way we're going to start our work is we're going to turn our work to the side and we're going to work in these back bumps. Now let's get a nice close-up for you. Turn your work to the side and find the very first back bump right there. Pop your hook in. And the back bumps, you can see them, they're really, this is why they call them bumps, because they look like bumps, yeah? Pop your hook in, pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops. Initially that's called a single crochet, but we are doing a stacked single crochet or a standing treble crochet. I nearly said double. Because we're doing 3 of these. This is the first one. And what you want to do, there's a loop right down at the base here. You want to hold your work and hold your loop here so it doesn't come loose, and then pop your hook in that base loop, yeah? Don't do these stitches too tight, yeah? Pull a loop through like so, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops, and again, don't do these stitches too tight. We're going to do 1 more. Hold your thumb on the loop there, pop it through the side base loop, pull a loop through like so, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops. That is the 3rd time we are doing that stitch. Grab a stitch marker and pop it in the top 2 loops of the stitch. You really need to use stitch markers here. A piece of thread, a safety pin, paper clip, whatever you have in stock. You don't have to have all the fancy stitch markers. Anything you can use, right? But important for this pattern to have it because it looks like there's a lot of stitches here when there's only really, that's classified as 1. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start our half treble already. So that's yarn over your hook. Now you are actually in this loop right there. And your next back bump, you can see the back bump is right next to it. So yarn over your hook. Pop your hook in that little back bump, pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through just 1 loop. Okay, so we still have 3 loops left, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops. 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. That is a half treble US, half double treble UK. So yarn over your hook, we're going to continue to do that stitch all the way through. Got your yarn over your hook, pop it in that back bump right there, like so. Pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the first loop, 3 loops left, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. It's a simple stitch, and it is actually elongated, so it's a lot taller than the double crochet US treble UK, and a lot shorter than the treble US double treble UK. All right, so yarn over your hook into your very next back bump right there, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 1, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2. You are getting this look. All right, so your job now is to do your half trebles all the way across. Okay, get to the very last back bump or the second last back bump. Meet me there, and then we will talk about what we're going to do next. All right, do your half trebles all the way across now, and I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, here I am at the end of the row. I have 1 stitch left. Let's get a nice close up for you, and you can actually see the bump sticking up there, yeah? So yarn over your hook, you're going into that bump right there. Pull your loop through, do your 1, your 2, and your 2. You have finished the first row. Your next job now is to chain 1 and turn your work. But before you do, what you want to do is count your stitches. If you had 18 chains, you should actually have 17 stitches, and your stitches are these little V looking things you see here. So you start counting by counting the top, not so much the posts, but the top. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 is your last one. We did chain that 1, but that's not included in a count, okay? That's just to move you to the next row. And the next row, what you're doing is flipping your work. You can flip it this way, or you can flip it that way, whichever you like. I find I turn it like I'm turning a page in a book, yeah? And there's your first stitch. You're ignoring the chain that you made, and you're popping your standing double crochet or stacked single crochet in that first stitch. So you go into the stitch, which is that little space, and if you can't find it, give it a stretch, and there it is. You can see it. Pop your hook in, pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops. Don't make it too tight, yeah? Hold your thumb on your loop, go to your base side loop there, pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops. Again, one more time, hold your thumb there, pop it through the base side loop, pull a loop through, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through both those loops. Grab your next stitch marker, piece of thread, paper clip, whatever you have, safety pin, doesn't matter. Pop it right there, yeah? So yarn over your hook, you're going to pop it in the very next stitch like so, and complete your half treble. Now we're going to start our pattern, and our pattern is chaining 1, yarn over your hook, skip 1, and do a half treble in the very next one. So you've got your yarn over your hook, you're going to skip this one, jump into the next with your stitch. All right, so through the first one, through 2, and through 2. And that's pretty much it until the last 3 stitches, okay? So you chain 1, skip 1, and make your stitch in the very next stitch, like so. And you are going in those stitches right there. You can see them. If you give them a stretch, you can see the little space. All right, so chain 1, skip into your next with your stitch, Nothing changes here except you are doing chain 1 and skipping across. Chain 1, skip, next stitch, like so. Alright, so chain 1 and continue. I'm not going to let you head off. I'm just going to pop this on fast and get to your last 3 stitches and off we go. Alright, so that wasn't worth putting them fast, but anyway, we're going to chain 1 at the end. We're going to skip the next stitch. We're going to pop our half treble in that first stitch that you come to, or the second last stitch if you will, and then you're going to place 1 in the stitch with your stitch marker, right in that stitch where your stitch marker is, like so. Remove your stitch marker, and you started your row with the 2 half trebles and you've ended the row with the 2. All right, now we're going to chain 1 and turn, but from now on, we'll chain 1 first. But from now on, the next 2 rows are going to be our repeat rows. So we turn our work, we do our stacked single crochet in the first stitch, and you know how to do this. 1, 2, 3. Pop your stitch marker in there. Gorgeous, like so. And this time, we have a half treble right here. What we want to do is chain 1 now. Yarn over your hook, skip that first half treble, jump into the space and do your stitch. This will never change this stitch throughout the pattern, okay? You will be doing the half trebles all the way through. So I'm not going to keep saying it, I'm just going to say your stitch so you will know what to do, yeah? Chain 1. It's just such a big line to say, isn't it? It's such a big word to say. Chain 1 and then yarn over your hook. You're skipping your first stitch and you're going into the space of the next stitch. Now, chain 1, when I say stitch, you're skipping these stitches, the V's we were talking about before. So even if you weren't looking at the half treble, you are actually skipping that stitch up the top and you're going into the space of the next stitch. And you are making your half treble. And you are doing that all the way through, the chaining 1 in every space. Keep going. Chain 1, skip into the space. It's very, very simple stitch. Chain 1, skip in the space. Well, it's a simple pattern, you know, if you know what I mean. Chain 1, skip into the last space you see. Right, then you chain 1, you skip that second last stitch and you go directly into the stitch with your stitch marker, like that, as though you were doing your normal row, and you're getting a filet kind of look in the half trebles. Remove your stitch marker. All right, and now what you're going to do, this is your second row repeat. You're chaining 1, you're turning your work. We do our stacked single crochet in the first stitch. Pop your stitch marker in there. Don't you love it? She's just sitting there, just working away and forgetting to talk to you guys. Don't you love it? So there it is. That's it. Yarn over your hook. Now the row you're going to repeat actually is this first row we did. It's just a little different because we don't have these other half trebles in between. So what you're going to do here is make a half treble in a chain space. So go over your chain, pull a loop through. You know how to do it, just your normal stitch all the way through that area. And then you chain 1, skip the first half treble and jump into the next space with your stitch. That's all you're doing all the way across. You're skipping 1, chaining 1, skipping 1, chaining 1 all the way across your piece. Super duper easy, yeah? Did I mention the pattern was going to be easy? The only thing you need to remember is that extra loop right there, 1. and then complete your stitch. All right, that's all you need to remember to do the extra one. All right, so chain one. You are skipping that second last half treble. Jump into the space, complete that half treble like so. Don't chain one here. Just do your next half treble directly into your stitch marker stitch. All right, chain one, and get ready for some instructions. All right, as you go along, these next 2 rows will pull in. That's the nature of filet crochet. It does pull in. All right, so what I want you to do is to repeat these last 2 rows one more time. Meet me back here, and then we'll start talking about measurements, all right, with the measuring tape. So go ahead and repeat these, row 1 and row 2. It's actually classified as row 3 and row 4. So repeat row 3 and row 4 one more time. Meet me back here once you're done, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, so I asked you to repeat the last 2 rows once, so a set of 2 if you will. Do your last half treble in that stitch with your stitch marker, remove your stitch marker. You have 1 more row to complete for your gauge swatch. So what do? We chain 1, we do our standing treble if you will, or you could use chain 4, alright? So there's your first single, side loop, second single, side loop, third single, pop your stitch marker here. All right, so now we're going to put a half treble in that first stitch. It's actually the second one if you consider this as the first. Let's bring this up a little more so it's easier for you. So in your second stitch, you know how to do the half treble. It's so simple now, isn't it? Really is not a difficult stitch because it's repetitive. All right, and here what you want to do is mimic what we have down here by 1 row. And that's the last row here. So we're going to pop a half treble in the chain space. So right over the chain stitch there, you pop your hook in, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 1, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2. I don't need to show you the stitch, but I do need to tell you, you need to pop 1 half treble in every half treble, like so, and 1 half treble in every space. All right, super easy, yeah? 1 in every half treble and 1 in every space. All right, so head off on your own, complete that row. Meet me right here when you're done, and then we'll talk about measurements. Alrighty guys, here I'm at the end of the row. Now I do have my last 2 half trebles there. We've completed that last space. You're popping a half treble in that half treble and 1 in your very last stitch with your stitch marker in it, like so. Remove your stitch marker and just replace it in that chain loop there. And let's measure our swatch. All right, so grab your measuring tape. Let me bring this up a little so you can see what I'm doing. And you really need to, don't stress too much about the top and the base, okay? That's not where we're measuring. We're measuring the center because this pattern will pull in a little bit, okay? And if you don't measure the center as the right measurement, this will be too tight on your person, okay? So you need 10 centimeters from the center. When I say center, find the tightest area because it pulls in the center. That's the nature of the stitch, all right? So you get your measuring tape and you find your 10 centimeters or 4 inches. That's what we need. And you turn it around and you find your 10 centimeters or 4 inches. Find the center again. Doesn't really matter in this case because we'll talk about length once we're doing our project. but that's what you'll find, all right? 10 centimeters or 4 inches roughly. Now, when I say roughly, the length can be a little bit rough, but the middle part needs to be 10 centimeters or 4 inches because this is around our whole person, right? Whereas that part there, the length is from the top of our neck right down to our wherever we want it. So we can change our pattern during the pattern to suit our length. All right, so now that you have the right measurement, if you don't have, let's say you only have, I'll bring that back up again. Let's say you only have, I don't know, 3.5 inches or 9.5 centimeters or 9 centimeters even, then you need to go up a hook size. So right now I'm using my 4.5. You'll need to go up to a 5mm hook. Or if yours is really big, like 13 or 12, you need to go down a hook size. So you'll need to go to a 4mm hook. All right. So if it's too big, you're going down a hook size. If it's too tight and closed in, you're going up a hook size. So, and if that doesn't work, just keep changing it to suit the hook size. All right. It's very important to do a gauge swatch if you want to get your size correct. There you have it, guys. That's your gauge swatch done. Remember, if your gauge swatch is smaller than mine, go up to a 5mm hook. If your gauge swatch was larger than mine, go down to a 4mm hook. Make sure you get that gauge swatch right, okay? The best part is I've given an extra 10 centimeters on everyone's size, so it's going to be a fairly loose top. It's specifically made loose so that you can wear it over something like this, where it just covers some of your arm and gives it a gentle, soft look on a dark black dress. Or if you wanted to make a black crochet piece on a red dress, just as good, guys, just as good. Or you can do any color you like. It doesn't matter, guys. Go out, get your yarn now, check your sizes in the description box down below, and join me on Monday, the 6th of October, where we'll be creating our gorgeous Halloween top. By then I'll have a name for it. I forgot to make up a name. Don't you love it? We will be making our gorgeous top. As you saw in this gauge swatch, it is a half treble, chain 1 all the way across. It is so simple. Once again, a very special thank you to the lovely Pamela for her colour combination in our Halloween project. Now remember, you will need a very small amount of black. I don't know, 3 to 5 grams of a 3-weight 8-ply DK weight yarn, all right? Any kind of yarn, that can be acrylic, that can be wool, whatever you want, cotton, because it's going to go on the outside of our project. It's like a little brooch or something. Might go up the top, might go on the front. Doesn't matter. We'll work that out once our top is created. Don't you love it? She makes this stuff up as she goes along. So get your yarn ready, check your stash. If you can't find it in your stash, spend some more money and buy more. That's what we do, isn't it? That's what we do, guys. It's what we do. Thank you very much for joining us here at Wild Crochet Designs. Get your gauge swatch ready. Meet me back here on Monday, the 6th of October, where we'll be creating our gorgeous lacy top, which hopefully I'll have a name for by then. My name is Mary. This is Wild Crochet Designs, and ciao for now. Try to be good. Bye all.